Another non-primitive type we have in C# is array. In this lecture, I'm going to give you a brief introduction of arrays to get you started. Later in this course, we have a separate section about arrays, and there I will cover more details. So what I'm covering in this lecture is what is an array, how to declare and initialize arrays, and how to access array elements. So what is an array? An array is a data structure that we use to store a collection of variables of the same type. For example, imagine you would like to work with 3 numbers. So instead of declaring 3 integer variables like number 1, 2, 3, you can declare an array and call it numbers. Note the square brackets here. The first one is used to tell the compiler that we would like to declare an array, and the second one is used to set the size of that array. So in C#, arrays have a fixed size, which means you need to specify it during declaration and it cannot be changed. Also note the new operator here. When declaring an array, you need to allocate memory for it, and that's why you need to use the new operator. Also, an array is an object behind the scene. So in C# we have a class called array, and when you declare an array using this syntax here, internally the compiler creates an instance of that class, so an object, and that's why we need to allocate memory for it. Now that we have an array, we can access its elements using an index that we supply in the square brackets. Note that in C# arrays are 0 indexed, which means the first element of an array has the index of 0. If you know ahead of time the values you would like to store in an array, you can use the object initialization syntax and make this code shorter. So during the declaration, we supply the values in curly braces. Again, this was a quick introduction to arrays, so you can get started quickly and write some simple programs. I'm going to cover arrays in more detail in a later section in this course. Now let's flip over to Visual Studio and do some coding.